All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Just wanted to thank everybody again for joining this training. We won't take too much of your Thursday night, but we wanted to take the opportunity to train any new folks that have never phone banked before and refresh ourselves who have phone banked before on the process of phone banking. I'm Raisha Farmer, the Rights for All campaign coordinator for the ACLU of Wisconsin. My colleague James has joined us. James, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there. Yeah, am I muted? No, great. Okay. Hi, my name is James. I'm the data and organizing specialist here at the ACLU Wisconsin.
Yeah. So as the data organizing specialist, James has been my backbone and guru in preparing this phone bank. So happy to have him join the training tonight. And I'll just say really quickly, I think we all understand the importance of voting, and that's why we're here. But this election is really important because I think some of the most immediate seats are going to be open on the August 11th ballot. I consider those to be your state senator, which is different from your regular senator, and your state assemblymen, which are people who usually live like down the block from you or a couple blocks over. And so these are people that you often have the most direct access to and can continue having conversations with after they're elected. So it's really important that we get people as excited about this election as they are about the general, where we get to vote for our next president. So because of the significance, I'm just really grateful to have you all joining us. So the plan for today is to just talk a little bit about phone banking, obviously. So James will take us through the VAN, which is the network that we use to do a phone bank virtually. We'll talk about the script a little bit. We'll learn how to log responses as we're talking to people. I'll give some tips. And then we'll also have some time for some sample calls. So James and I are going to do a demonstration, and then there'll be time for you guys to do a call with James or I if you want to get some practice in. One last time, I'm just going to drop this contact form into our chat in case there's any new folks who didn't see it before. Completing this contact form is how you get the information for the phone bank, so make sure you complete that before we wrap up. All right, James, do you want to take it away talking about VAN?
Absolutely. All right, so everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is so exciting. So first, thank you so much for coming to the training here for our phone banking. Now let me just quick explain who we're talking to, right? These are who we identified as at-risk voters. These are people who are registered, but they have a very inconsistent history of voting. So there's a strong probability that they're probably not voting in this August primary. So making sure, that they are, requesting their absentee ballot, or they're have information they need to go to the polls is going to be imperative. And the reason we're having these conversations, and it's just like, in a non-COVID world where we're knocking on doors or now we're making phone calls, these person-to-person conversations are just so effective in actually making sure people turn out and vote. And that's really what we need to have a really good representation of Wisconsinites on the ballot and the results after August 11th. So first things first, so again, like these are at-risk voters, people have inconsistent histories of voting. And people will ask, hey, where did you get my phone number? This is coming directly from the voter file from the Secretary of State. When you register to vote, you are automatically on the voter file, and this is where we get our information. Usually that puts people to ease pretty quick when they tell us this is coming directly from the state, but yes. So first things first, this will be the person's first and last name of the person we'll be calling. Their phone number's right here. You can get their voting city. We don't have this person's address on file, but you can see their municipality they're voting in and any other contact information. And they'll start with the script right here. It'll show up just like this when you receive your phone bank. And the way you'll be receiving your phone bank will be over, you'll receive it just in a link over an email. You'll be able to click on that link and it'll open the phone bank right open for you in a tab. Also, please feel free to stop me if you have any questions or if I need to expand on something. But so it'll start with the script here, and you'll see this spot right here. And right here is what we have for survey IDs. This is really important information for us. So the first one is knowing if they're committing to vote in the August primary. And the second one is if they have are absentee voting. Really important information for us to know, especially what people are doing in the state. So going through, there are a few hiccups in the script that I do need to, I guess, kind of navigate and explain. So let's just bear with me for a second. So the script obviously is like, hi, is Gideon home? And just read through the script here. My name is James. I'm a volunteer with the ACLU, and I'm just calling for the partisan primary on August 11th. How are you doing? Just having a conversation. You don't always have to follow the script exactly to the T, but I always use it as a great frame of reference to keep me comfortable in a conversation, especially if you haven't done this before. But I'll be honest, after your second, third, fourth call, you will be a wizard at this, and it'll be no problem. It'll just be a good point of reference. But for now, just saying, I'm really glad we can talk because we have primary elections for Congress, the state legislator, and district attorney on the August 11th ballot. And these have such an imperative and direct impact on our lives. And the first question is our commit to vote questions. Like, can we count on you to vote on August 11th? Now, I understand it says April 7th here, and I'm trying to get this fixed on the back end, but that takes a couple of requests, and I'm still working on that. But please, when you read that out, just mention it's August 11th. Disregard that actual typo. So, but when you have that, can we count on you to vote? You'll be able to select yes, maybe, or no. You never want to give anybody a direct no, but we have that option there. So if they say yes, thank you so much for your commitment to vote. Since they're committing to vote, hit question 2, plan to vote absentee. You just jump right there. Or if they said they already voted or no, then you would respond to the following. But let's just, say they answer yes. Thank you so much for committing to vote. You're going to go to question 2. You're going to go, we're trying to figure out, I'm going to encourage people to order their absentee ballots online on mywisconsinvote.com. So you're saying, like, in this time, we find it's really important that people know how to vote safely and preferably not in person. You may have heard of absentee voting before, and this is a really easy option that we strongly encourage people to exercise a civil right and civic duty the highest way possible. Have you requested your absentee ballot already? So if they say yes, if they no, you respond as such. If they say yes, make sure that if they say yes, say great. If you haven't already, you'll need to request it by August 6th. We encourage you to request it much sooner and return it by August 11th. This can be done in just a few days by mail. And if they need directions where to get it, we direct them right to mywisconsinvote.gov. It's a really great website operated by all of the Wisconsin county clerks, where you can request your ballot online and register to vote online, because we can do that in Wisconsin now. And it will really dive you into the process here. So first, when you're directed into mywisconsinvote.gov, you'll need to request your ballot by August 6th. You'll start by going to myvote.wi.gov/voteabsentee. You can spell that out for them if you need to. After you search your personal information, and the system allows you to click request absentee ballot, where you can request absentee ballot, you can choose where you'd like to get your ballot mailed, in which elections you'd like to vote by absentee ballot. If you haven't voted by absentee ballot, your current address, all you have to do is upload a picture of your photo ID or proof of address. It's really user-friendly. I recommend looking at this, but I requested my ballot last week because I just moved, and it was really easy. In question 3, if they have a plan to vote, let's say they don't want to request absentee ballot voting, then you can use My Wisconsin Vote to direct them to their polling place for election day. And this goes to, and this is question 3, where the script will go into, voting in person. But And if I'll be honest, in a lot of these phone conversations, typically you won't be able to get to like the far end of the questions, and people try to keep the conversation pretty quick. But if it's a really great conversation, I definitely encourage you to talk to them about being a poll worker. And if they sound very susceptible of volunteering, there is a check in the bottom here called advocacy volunteer. And this way we'll know on the back end that these are people that we should follow up with again and ask if they want to volunteer and participate in our program. I know that was a very quick rundown, and I'm really happy to dive into it for any questions if anybody may have them. Raisha, just running it back to you now.
Yeah, great. Thank you for going over the scripts a little bit. So in short, there's 4 specific questions on this phone banking script. And once we send you guys the link to log into the phone bank, you can spend some time with the script before you call people and just do a couple run-throughs to get yourself more comfy with it. But the questions are you going to vote? Are you going to vote absentee? If you're not going to vote absentee, what's your plan to vote in person? And would you like to volunteer? So those are the major points of us hosting a phone bank and the information that we want to know from voters. I see someone mentioned in the chat, just to clear any concerns up for anyone who has questions about it. You upload your ID when you're requesting your absentee ballot if you haven't voted absentee before, just to show proof of identity. Thank you for flagging that in the chat. I just want to go over like a couple tips that I think make phone banking really natural. So first, really good one, James already mentioned, like the script is there as a guide. It's not like you have to say these exact words verbatim. It just helps keep the conversation going smoothly for anyone who still hasn't found their groove. I also want to mention when you don't reach folks, which that might happen quite a bit, we're calling like thousands of voters. We're not guaranteed to reach every single one of them. So don't feel bad for anybody that you don't meet, but also you'll see on James's screen right under this name that there's an option to show that you couldn't reach this person, which a number of different options about why you couldn't reach them. If you left a voicemail, obviously left a message. If you, for some reason, can't reach a voicemail, let's say it's not set up or something like that, then I just click call back or not home. And then that keeps them on the list so that the next person can try and reach them again later. I also just want to say, like, don't feel the need to rush through the scripts or get through every single bit of the scripts. James sort of mentioned that, but the last time we phone banked, I recall a number of folks who had already voted and who were already good to go. And so I didn't have to go through the whole conversation with them. I could just say, great, thanks so much for voting. One last question, are you interested in volunteering? And can you commit to telling your friends and family about the election and voting absentee? And they were like, yeah, great, done. And that's okay too. Again, the script is just there as a guide in case you need that for reference. James, did you have something else you wanted to add? I see you're unmuted.
Just a quick few notes. So I know I totally forgot to go into the option where you couldn't reach Gideon. So if there's no answer or no voicemail, you're gonna hit not home. This is the one you're probably gonna get both of the time. If you identify yourself, I want to be really clear about this. It's really important for us too, because when we hit refused, we're not going to call these people back. We're not going to put volunteers through that if someone has, had a really like harsh response to a call. This one doesn't happen a lot, so please only mark this if you call and they answer. It's the person we're calling, and you've identified yourself as a part of the ACLU, and then they refuse the call or say please stop calling, then please mark that as refused. But they have to know we're talking to the right person, and they know who we are before we mark as refused. But the rest of them I think are pretty straightforward. If they're busy, if they're disconnected, or if it's the wrong number. But the refusal one, that's a really important distinction. So just to reiterate, we know that's Gideon, who I called, and Gideon knows the ACLU was calling him, and then he refused the call. for a refusal, because if we hit that preemptively, then we'll never talk to this person again. And we don't want that.
Yeah, and keep in mind that most of the folks, all of the folks that we're calling are ACLU members or supporters. So they're typically excited to hear from us because they, want to know the latest updates, or, they're just proud to be card-carrying members of the ACLU, or donors or whatever have you. So you're not really, again, going to reach anyone who is upset that you called. It might just be bad timing or something, or maybe the phone hangs up accidentally or whatever. That's why another tip that I have is the double dial. I typically call folks once, but the phone rings until either voicemail or 4 more times. I'll hang up and then I'll call once more, and on that second ring, they're more likely to pick up. But that's for extra persistent phone bankers. So I think now is a good time to do a sample call. So James, you want to be my person at home chilling, and I'll be the phone banker?
I would love to be on that another call. Oh my gosh.
All right, so I'm calling James. Ring, 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 ring.
Hello.
Hi, is James home?
This is.
Hi, James. Nice to meet you. I'm Raisha. I'm a volunteer with the ACLU of Wisconsin, and I'm calling because the partisan primary election is on August 11th. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, of course. Glad to talk and glad to know you're doing well. As you know, because of elections, local elections for Congress, state legislature, and district attorney coming up on the August 11th ballot, it's a key election, and they're going to have tremendous impact on our day-to-day lives. So my first question as we're talking here is, can we count on you to vote on August 11th?
Yes, you can.
That's great. Thank you so much for your commitment to vote. Let's talk about your voting plan. Obviously, in this time, we find it important that people know how to vote safely. You may have heard of absentee voting before. It's skyrocketed here. And this is an option that we're strongly encouraging for Wisconsin voters to exercise their right to vote and their civic duty in the healthiest way possible. So I'm curious, have you requested your absentee ballot already?
I have not.
Okay. Just so you know, because of health risks of COVID-19 and other changes in our communities, we do encourage folks to consider voting by absentee ballot. It's really easy to order and to track online, actually. So you can either keep thinking about it, or I can take 1 minute to explain it now.
Oh, please explain it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just explain the basics. First, you'll need to request your ballot by August 7th. Though we do encourage you to request much sooner to make sure it gets to the clerk's office in time and is counted. To request it, you'll start by going to myvote.wi.gov/vote-absentee, and I can repeat that if you need me to.
Okay.
myvote.wi.gov/vote-absentee.
Okay.
After you search your personal information, the system will allow you to click request absentee ballot, and then you can choose where you want it to be mailed. You can choose which elections you want to vote in, August versus November, or both. And if you haven't voted absentee before, you'll have an option to upload your photo ID to do that. The site's pretty user-friendly, but just make sure that you see a confirmation for your submitted request when you're done. Does that help? Do you have any questions about that?
So I can just, all I have to do is enter my personal information on My Wisconsin Vote, and they can check that I'm registered, and I'll be able to request my ballot?
Yep, that's exactly what happens. You'll go to the My Vote website that I mentioned. You'll be able to input your name and date of birth, I believe. It'll find your registration information, and you can request your ballot from there.
Great. Thank you so much. That's so easy.
Yeah, definitely. I also have a couple notes on how to properly complete this specific ballot, just because you can confuse sometimes. So it's a partisan primary, meaning you have to vote within one political party specifically. You'll see, Republican, Democrat, and one other party. Just choose which party you want to vote at the top, and then make sure you stay within that party's column so that we can make sure your vote is counted, okay?
Okay, so I can only vote for one.
Yeah, you can only vote within
Okay.
one party this election. Next election, things will change a little bit, but this election, we're voting within parties. I also want to talk about voting in person because sometimes that's a better option for voters. For example, if you have trouble with your absentee ballot for some reason or are nervous that it's not going to get counted or something like that, you can make a plan to vote in person. Like my backup plan is to vote on election day in the afternoon around 1 p.m. Would you prefer to vote absentee or vote at an early voting site or vote on election day?
And I think I'm gonna stay home and vote absentee.
Yeah, that's great. After our discussion about voting by absentee ballot, is there any more information that I can give you or repeat about that process?
No, you were so helpful, right? You should know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, James. Last question, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
We've seen some major wins across the state with increases in early voting and election day polling sites. But to ensure that those elections run smoothly, we'll need people to work the polls, obviously, which many places are actually offering compensation for. So I'm wondering if you or a loved one might be interested in becoming a poll worker for the partisan primary.
You know what? Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'd love to hear more
Okay.
down the line.
Okay, that's great. And that's an incredible step towards protecting everybody's right to vote. I'm sure you know, especially in this time. So I'll give you one more website to get more information on becoming a poll worker.
Okay.
Also myvote.wi.gov.
Well, it's all there, huh?
Yeah, everything's there, literally. Registration, requesting a ballot, and then finding your municipal clerk on that website and talking to them about becoming a poll worker.
Now just call my municipal clerk then.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Well, thanks, James. It's been so great talking to you. I hope you have a great experience voting and a great night.
Thank you so much for calling, Raisha. I really appreciate your help.
Of course. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Click, and the call's done.
Wow. What a great phone banker.
Thank you. Like I said, sometimes you'll get people who say, like, I already voted, or like, I have a specific question, and you can just jump to that question. Like, if James was a person who, like, hadn't voted yet, but like had already requested their ballot and just needed to know how to complete it, then I could just jump to the section that says, make sure you vote within one party and do your signature like that. So just remember to be fluid and actually listen to and respond to people as you're having conversations. Okay, so I am curious about if anyone's interested in practicing with us. So if you're interested in doing a quick practice call with James or I, feel free to let us know in the chat really quickly. I know, Marissa. Anyone want to do a practice call, or are we all like feeling like gurus right now? It's pretty.
Feeling good. All right.
Or if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in. Carlos. Yeah, let's bring Carlos on screen.
Does Carlos have access to a script?
Carlos probably doesn't, but I can drop the link. I'm looking at it right now. So first I'll drop the link in the chat, and then I'll bring Carlos on screen. Good call, James. Changing the share settings so that Carlos can see it. Anyone with the link is a viewer. Carlos, once you click that link, you should be able to see the scripts now, and I'm going to bring you on screen. Hey, Carlos. I think you're muted, dear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. How's it going?
Good.
Good, glad.
Good. Sure.
Are you able to access the script?
Let me check it out.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, by the way, and being brave.
Yeah, this is great.
You're being the brave one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys should be the brave ones, really.
We did
I
ours.
stump you guys. Okay. So I don't see the link.
I dropped it in the chat.
Chat.
But I'll drop it again.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Cool.
Oh wait, am I going to do the reading, or am I going to try to stump one of you guys?
You're gonna be the reader. You're gonna practice.
Oh man, do over. I'm going to take.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, is Raisha home?
Yeah, this is she.
Hi, Raisha. I'm Carlos. I'm a volunteer with the ACLU here in Wisconsin, and I'm calling because of the partisan primary election on August 11th. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I love the ACLU. I'm so glad y'all called.
Oh yes, thank you. We do our best. I'm glad we can talk because local elections for Congress, the state legislature, and district attorney are among those on the August 11th ballot. As you know, these elections have tremendous impact on our day-to-day lives.
Exactly.
Will you make a commitment to vote August 11th?
Oh yeah, for sure. You can count on me.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for your commitment. In this time, we find it important that people know how to vote safely. You may have heard of absentee voting before, and this is an option that we are strongly encouraging for Wisconsin voters to exercise their civil rights and civic duty in the healthiest way possible.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
Okay. Have you or your loved ones requested an absentee ballot yet?
I have requested my absentee ballot, actually. Just arrived in the mail.
Oh, awesome. That's good news. Good news. Great. So if you haven't already, wait, you said you did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you haven't already, but you said you did.
Right. So that's one of those examples. This is a really good learning example. So since the person said they have, and the script says if you haven't already, you again don't have to follow the script verbatim.
Gotcha.
You could just move down to regardless of their answer.
Oh, there is an option for that. Okay. I also have a couple notes here on how to properly complete your absentee ballot for this partisan primary.
Okay.
You and your loved ones should know that you must choose a political party to vote within, and you must also select the candidate in the party's column.
Okay.
After you make your choice, don't forget that you and a witness over the age of 18 have to sign and date the envelope provided in your ballot, which you should use to return your ballot as soon as possible before August 11th.
Got it.
Remember that you could also visit myvotewisconsin.gov for more information. Can we count on you to tell your family and friends in Wisconsin about voting by absentee ballot on this election?
Yeah, definitely. I'll do that.
Great, thank you. We really appreciate it. Okay, voting in person is sometimes a better option for some voters. For example, if I somehow have trouble with my absentee ballot, I would go in the morning, afternoon, after work, 11 p.m. Oops, sorry.
No worries.
Would you prefer to vote absentee at an early voting site or on election day?
Yeah, I actually love to vote on election day.
Yes, that's fun. It's good to see the neighbors, right? Me too.
Good.
On election day, gotcha. Okay, cool. As you probably know, polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, August 11th. What time do you think you would head to the polls on election day?
I usually go in the afternoon, probably around 1 p.m. I'll go.
Okay. So do you know where your polling place is?
I do. It's like a couple steps outside of my door.
Oh, perfect. Nice. That's awesome. If you, for whatever reason, you need to help somebody find a place to vote, a polling place, you can help them by going to myvotewisconsin.gov/find my polling place.
Got it.
Just in case you need a different place, or somebody that you know has a question about it, you can help them out.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. One last question. We've seen major wins across the state with increases in early voting and election day polling sites. To ensure that these elections run smoothly, we'll need people to work these polls, which many places are offering compensation for, so you'd be getting paid, including additional hazard pay. Might you or a loved one be interested in becoming a poll worker for the upcoming partisan primary?
I think I'm a little busy to work the polls, and I know a lot of immunocompromised folks, so I don't think any of us will be working the
Okay.
poll here.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for letting us know. And thank you for your commitment to vote on Tuesday, August 11th. We may get back to you, in touch with you after Tuesday to see how voting went. One more thing, if you do change your mind and you would like to become a poll worker,
Okay.
it looks like you can find your, this is an incredible step towards person. You can find your municipal clerk's information at myvote.wisconsin.gov/n us, my municipal clerk, and contact them about becoming a poll worker. So basically, just get a hold of your municipal clerk, and you can let them know that you're interested in becoming a poll worker. That's if you're interested. But I understand a lot of people would not want to be part of something like this, especially now because of COVID.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that information either way.
My pleasure. And that's all I got for you. And thank you for your time.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Click.
Go Carlos. Thank you. And you did some really good improvising, right? And making the script your own, like where it makes sense to give people extra information, or realizing that the script wasn't exactly fitting the situation in the call. Even changing the first question, right? Like, can you make a commitment to vote? I think all of that is fine. So hope that's a lesson to folks watching, that you can adapt the script in whatever way makes sense. Thank you, Carlos. I'll let you go.
Can we do another one? That was fun.
Yeah, sure. If you want.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
Let's do it all
I'm
down.
I'm down.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. We have time to do another one, or we could wrap up early. If anyone else is interested in doing another call, feel free to let me know in the chat. I'll wait a couple minutes for that. Lisa shouted you out, Carlos. So you did something right. Anyone else? If not, it's okay. Okay. I feel comfortable moving on then. I just want to, one more time, drop this link in the chat. Again, this link is to a contact form. We need your contact information to get you the phone bank link. So just make sure that you fill out this form before this call ends so that we can get you that information. I'll take this time to share some goals that we have for the phone bank. So we have like a few 100,000 people that we want to contact across the state of Wisconsin. We're going to contact people from Milwaukee, Madison, Racine, Kenosha, Eau Claire, Marathon, Wausau, Menominee, really all over the state. And so I think over 200,000 voters are the folks that we could reach. We want to reach at least 60% of those voters. So we want to talk to around 140,000 folks, meaning we want to do about 7,000 or so hours of calls. And we have between this weekend and April 7th to do so. So I'm feeling pretty confident. James came through and made this a very easy thing to put together. So I feel really well set up to reach those goals. So Happy to have James on board as well as all of you so that we can make that happen. All right, last call for anyone that wants to practice doing a phone bank call. Okay. Well, then I'll just wrap up. Thank you guys for joining this phone bank. We have recorded it and we'll be able to post it to YouTube later for you or anyone else that needs to brush up. There also is a Telegram chat that we use to communicate in case you have questions. Let's say like you're calling at 7 p.m. at night, but I'm having dinner with my family, but you have a quick question. I also send a link to the Telegram chat that you can send those questions to, and someone else who is phone banking will be able to answer that question for you. But again, thank you guys for joining the training tonight, and we look forward to a great couple of weeks of phone banking. Y'all take care and be safe.